Tell the truth, they trying to trick me out position facts. And jumping out the scoops, trying to trick me out my shaking gears. Niggas gonna shoot, they trying to hit the opposition. Not here to settle conflict, we ain't with no propositions. Fuck all that. Shit, I'm a genius, but I damn it down. Still keep guns by the penis when I run around. Niggas don't respect the rain till it's coming down. So when they start to see the storm and hear that thunder sound, yeah.
My YNs is doing quarter zits. It's nothing but a 7 when I was young. I was doing quarter bricks. Actually, before the gram, we was taking rich quarter flicks, huh? Pineapples on the hand, 3 1/4 whips. Nasty. So a Duke had to be, man. I had to act.
I'm done. Bitches, they gon' sweat a nigga heavy like the sun is on. Drugs out of done son. Major is my youngest son. We a 1-on-1. Nigga, you a none. Me and mine to the end of time. It's a summer bond. I say it's me and mine to the end of time. It's a summer bond. Supposed to be a bullet. I can't tell. Them wolf tickets you scrapping down show ain't sell. You dominate me, I can't see. Why use a hoe ain't.
I ignore 'em, but my angels, they go for 'em. Niggas speaking on my mama, I tell Chess, ring the alarm. Niggas pussy, probably cross his leg and fucking fold his arms. Every nigga that play.
Maino just went off in that viral Vlad TV interview, and now he's claiming G-Unit was never really what people thought it was. He's suggesting Jimmy henchmen had them on edge, and that all that tough talk was more myth than reality. From Maino's perspective, the whole image was exaggerated, pure hype, not as authentic as fans believed. So now the real question is this: is Maino seriously saying G-Unit wasn't as street as the reputation made it seem? Or is he taking it even further by implying that 50 Cent became a larger-than-life figure that people built up in their own minds? We're diving into all of that. So go ahead and hit that like button because this is where things get interesting. Maino has been making waves since dropping The Algorithm, a track aimed at people he's been clashing with online, including 50 Cent and DJ Academics, plus others he's had issues with. He threw in shots, name drops, and subtle jabs along the way, and now the conversation is getting louder. Then Vlad pressed him directly about the situation with 50, and Maino basically made it clear that in his view, all that G-Unit gangster talk was nothing but stories. According to him, it was more of a myth than a real-life reality. He's arguing that people bought into an image and ran with it, believing something that wasn't fully there. Maino even went as far as saying he never personally saw anything truly gangster about Fifth, despite 50 helping him land a deal, so that's the only side he's ever known. Now things are getting real, so let's break this down because the situation is heating up fast. Now let's keep it honest for a second. Maino has had his moments, no question. Tracks with Swizz Beatz, songs like High Hater, and a few others definitely had some buzz when they dropped. Even Vlad pointed that out. But if we're being real, those records didn't really stand the test of time like that. They were hot in the moment, but the long-term impact just wasn't there.
To me, being a lyricist, you know, these days people have their own version of it, but to me, it's someone that could say something that you go, oh wow, I wouldn't have thought to say that myself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
exactly.
exceptional.
Niggas always not giving me my credit. Niggas always underestimated me, and I've always been the underestimated one. Niggas never gave me my credit for being anything. You understand? When it comes to dressing, when it comes to music, you understand? You got niggas that actually really get on the internet and argue that I don't have no hits.
No,
you got
hits.
Yeah, like just
you have hits. All the above.
But it don't even matter, right? We don't got to go into anything.
Hater.
But my point is, I've always felt like I was a slept-on artist. I always felt like I was a slept-on artist with something to talk about. Like my story is real, what I was given. You know, nigga, you comparing me to who? Don't compare me to nobody else. Compare me to me.
And now, a lot of people don't even recognize his music catalog like that anymore. Listen, here's the real talk. Maino's reputation didn't just come from the music alone. It was really built during that DVD era, when stories were spreading about street encounters, chain snatching, and confrontations that had people talking heavy. That's where his name truly got stamped into the culture for a lot of people. So when it comes to music, many don't even associate him with major hits like that. And that's just the honest reality of how people see it today. Yeah, that's just how Fifth moves, real talk. A lot of people didn't even catch that detail when I was breaking down the Max B and 50 situation. I mentioned how Maino ended up with that scar from Rikers, and some of y'all completely missed it. That cut on his face didn't just come out of nowhere. It came from an incident in the barbershop while he was locked up. What people don't fully realize is this. Maino got cut while getting a haircut, and it was tied to tension that had been building up earlier, and that turned into a moment of payback. That situation followed him, and that's the real story behind that scar. So when you see it, just know there's history there, and it goes way deeper than what most people assume at first glance.
Well, not everyone remembers this, but 50 actually helped you out back in the day.
Yeah, and,
Right.
I gave him his credit, and it's 30 interviews of me talking about that.
Including this one, right? So
yeah, but
you guys
it's
don't
a
have
different
like,
time.
an inherent beef, a long-term
No,
beef
we
or
don't have
whatever
no
else.
beef, and this
I
is-
always thought there was a mutual respect.
Here, listen, this is why I'm so befuddled with the whole issue as it pertains to him, because if you go back and look at any interview where his name came up, I always gave him his flowers. I always gave him his credit, always gave him the grace and the respect because of what he done for me. I was going to sign to Atlantic anyway, but it was like taking long, and he made that call,
he helped
and
out.
it got done, right? Drink Champs, even after the beef started, I went on Drink Champs and still said that, right? So when he go do his little diss or whatever, and says, "Oh, Bar ripped him." Oh,
Wait. Which line are you talking about?
yes, it's everybody didn't catch the line. So you see this shot where he says,
At the barbershop.
"Yeah."
That's where your face got cut.
Yeah, but
that's
he
what
said-
he's trying to reference. Yeah.
But he referenced that, but he
Yeah.
also referenced the guy's name.
Oh, that was his name.
Yeah.
Bar?
Yeah.
Oh.
He referenced his name. So now I'm saying, I'm thinking, okay, now this is personal. Now you talking street shit. And now you saying it, I don't know why niggas is saying it as if it was like a strike against my character, because it's not. We cut each other, okay?
Yeah, you cut him first, he cut you
I
second.
cut him first, he cut me back.
Yeah.
No bit. I cut many guys, all right? It is what it is.
How many guys did you cut?
A plethora.
Okay.
All right? And everybody knows this. But on the internet, they like to just focus on that because of this. No problem, right? So
And that's exactly why none of this should really catch Maino off guard when it comes to 50 Cent. This is just how Fifth moves. He's known for being calculated, strategic, and yeah, a little petty when he feels it's necessary. So when he reacts, it usually isn't random, it's intentional. You can't act shocked like this came out of nowhere, because this has always been his approach. Now, let's be clear. This situation didn't just appear out of thin air. When Jimmy started speaking out against that Diddy documentary, 50 took that personally. That tension was already brewing between them, and things had been going back and forth before it escalated. Then bringing it onto a podcast and continuing the conversation only added more fuel to the fire. So it's not like Fifth just wakes up and starts targeting people for no reason. Something always triggers it first. He responds when he feels disrespected, and that pattern has been consistent for years. People act confused, but once you understand how these situations build, it starts to make sense. That's the South Side mentality in its rawest form. No filter, just straight up. Now, let's slow it down and really break this apart, because there are layers to this. You mentioned Jimmy and Fifth already had tension, right? But here's the thing, Maino. You don't fully know the depth of what was really going on between them. You don't know how it truly started or what happened behind the scenes. So stepping into that situation without the full context is already a risky move. Now here's where it gets interesting. You liked that post involving Jimmy, right? That Mel murder post from Fifth's point of view? And from the 50's perspective, that's going to raise eyebrows. If there's already tension and he sees you showing any kind of support or alignment with someone he's at odds with, he's going to take that as you picking a side. That's just how this plays out, whether you meant it that way or not.
now when he does that, I'm saying, oh, he going to like street shit. And this is why now I can't even, I gave him his credit. I can't give him to him no more.
Well, from my point of view, seeing the way 50 operates, me and him have talked, but we don't have like a close relationship like I do with Yayo, right? So I'm not going to speak into his head, but from my point of view, this reminds me of when Ja Rule dropped the New York record, which was
Right.
kind of his comeback record during that time, and Jadakiss and Fat Joe were on that record. Suddenly, 50's going to Jada and Fat Joe,
Right.
not because he has beef with them, but because he's standing next to someone he has beef with.
Okay.
They're
so-
standing next to someone that he has
Okay.
beef with. So I feel like in this situation,
Right.
this is where you landed. Yeah, I don't have 50 don't have beef directly with Maino, but since Maino was with these dudes, like
who you got beef with?
Jim Jones.
Oh, so it's you. Fuck is he?
What do you mean?
Who he?
50? But I'm saying this is how he operates. We've seen this before.
So what?
Okay.
So
I'm not saying you should understand it.
I don't get,
that's what I think it is.
Listen, if a nigga got a problem, I don't owe no nigga nothing as far as it comes to any level of loyalty, because as far as I knew, that they little back and forth ain't nothing real. That was nothing, because I remember them cool, and they had a little workout, little banter. And that's all. This started from like a post in 2020. See, I remember them going back and forth on Instagram about working out. And then one day, Capo put up a picture of Mel Murder, and I liked it. I didn't read the caption. It was Mel Murder. He from Bed-Stuy. I liked it. He locked up. I liked it. I'm saluting. 50 takes the picture of the post. This is what I'm saying. He's so sensitive, right? He take a picture of that post, of me liking it, and says, yeah, I helped this guy before, and I guess he forgot, you got to watch people and all that. And I was like...
And let's keep it real. This isn't new behavior at all. I've pointed this out before, and now it's back in the spotlight. There was a moment where Maino showed love to a Max B track with French Montana, even while being tied closely to Jim Jones. But Maino himself has said it plainly: whoever is Jim's enemy is automatically his enemy too. That's the code he claims to stand on. So if that's the rule, you've got to follow it all the way, no exceptions. Because the logic is simple. If your friend has an issue with someone, that person becomes your issue as well. That's loyalty. And in that circle, that's how it's supposed to work. And here's the twist. 50 Cent moves with a very similar mindset. But hold up, because this is where things start to shift. It doesn't always seem like Maino is consistent with that code across every situation. And that's exactly why people start questioning things, because the actions don't always match the words when situations get complicated. So let's ask the real question. Why would you like a post about Max connecting with French Montana knowing Jim Jones has real issues with Max? Especially after the PY situation, where things got personal and lines were clearly crossed. That was already a sensitive moment, so even a simple like was always going to raise eyebrows. And here's where it gets messy. Jim might not be watching every single move, but remember, he had issues with people like Dave East just for showing up at a Max B event. So now people are asking, did anyone check Maino for liking that Max and French interaction? Because if Max is really seen as an opponent, then why isn't that same energy consistent across the board? That's the part that's confusing everybody. If someone is labeled as your friend's enemy, even something as small as a like is going to be noticed. So when Maino says he liked that post while things were already tense with 50 Cent, it just adds more fuel to how Fifth might interpret everything. And you have to understand, this is how that Southside mindset works. They analyze everything. Even the smallest action can turn into a major statement real quick. From his perspective, that move could easily look questionable, even if that wasn't the intention. I'm just keeping it honest. In that environment, everything is based on loyalty and patterns. If I'm already in a situation with someone and I see you interacting with them, I'm definitely going to question it. That's just how it goes. And that's exactly why this situation escalated the way it did. So the real question is, what side are you really on right now? Because where I'm from, that kind of move gets labeled as being mixy, plain and simple. Are you trying to play both sides at the same time? Showing support here, then flipping and showing support there too? That's not how this works in situations like this. Once people catch that behavior, they start looking at you differently. They start questioning your loyalty and your true intentions. Now listen, I'm not labeling Maino anything wild, I never said that. But let's be real, the move itself raises eyebrows. It just doesn't sit right when you break it down. And now things get even more confusing. You're saying you never believed 50 Cent was really like that. You never respected that side at all. Come on now. You've been around long enough to hear those stories just like everybody else. Acting like none of that ever meant anything doesn't really add up. But at the same time, you're giving full respect to Jim Jones. So now people are asking, how does that make sense? You don't believe one side, but you fully accept the other? That's where the confusion really hits hard, because the logic just isn't lining up the way it should.
What? I was confused. I didn't understand. So I went back and then I read the caption. I said, oh shit, these niggas going back and forth. So that I goes and puts up the post and say, yo, you overthinking, bro. Like I could never forget about what you talking about. I can never forget about that. And I left it like that. And I don't think we ever really was the same. And this is a nigga that I felt like we had a decent a relationship, right? I respect him on his impact in the game, him being an artist that has impacted the game, even his business sense or whatever, right? And definitely respected what he done. But I never knew nothing gangster about him. I didn't ever have that respect for him, and I think that maybe because I was showing so much grace and giving him his flowers for so long, I think that kind of got devalued. Maybe thought that. Did you think that I had extra respect on some gangster shit? Because I never did. I never believed that. I had no reason to.
We've got to keep things consistent, because if you're not applying that same energy across the board, people are going to start questioning everything you say. Right now, something just feels off, and that's exactly why people are calling it out and trying to piece it all together. Listen, I'm gonna say it plain. This doesn't sound fully real to me. You're acting like you don't know anything about that side, but come on now. You're from the town, and you've been around it, just like Jim Jones, just like Fabulous, and just like Dave East. You've seen how it moves, so pretending to be unaware just doesn't add up. And yeah, you've had your own experiences too, no question. You dealt with situations while locked up at Rikers Island, and people already know about that part of your story. That's a real piece of your background, no doubt. But that doesn't erase everything else that's been happening around you and the people you're speaking to. Now, let's stay balanced and real for a second. 50 Cent and G-Unit weren't flawless either. They took losses just like anybody else. Let's not act like the story only goes one way. There were situations tied to Jimmy Henchman where things escalated, and moments that people still talk about to this day. There were also incidents connected to Tony Yayo, along with situations involving Holmes and retaliation that made everything intense very quickly.
Well, meaning what exactly? Meaning that you don't think that he did gangster activities at various points throughout his life?
No, I don't know. I have no way of knowing that.
Well,
and I don't want to make this whole interview about him, but listen, let me say this. I think he capitalized on the moment. It benefited him. What happened to him? I think two things that happened to him was probably the greatest things that ever happened. And one of those things was the fact that he got shot. Now, the fact that he got shot, well, you know, they say it was 5 times, really, he lied and not, whatever, right? All right. That justified him wearing a vest, pictures with guns. It justified the imagery. It gave it a storyline. Oh, all these old niggas trying to kill me. Oh man, everybody trying to kill me. There's a sense of danger. And then him signing Eminem amplified that. So now you got that storyline, then you got that machine. That was the perfect ingredients for success. We saluted it, we loved it. There was the underdog that came up. We was all with it, right? Anything gangster, I don't know nothing about that.
That whole era was full of back and forth energy, and honestly, nobody walked through it without getting touched in some way. So trying to act like one side was completely fake while ignoring everything that actually happened just doesn't tell the full story. Things got so real that people ended up catching Lodi Mack, and that situation turned deadly. Let's be clear, that's something you don't come back from. That's how serious things were back then, and it wasn't just talk anymore, it escalated all the way. Meanwhile, Jimmy Henchman ended up doing significant time, while 50 Cent remained out here continuing his career. So when you really break it down, both sides took losses in different ways. And yeah, there was definitely real loss in that entire situation. No denying that.
Well, I mean, he was also a great songwriter.
The music was
there. Music was definitely there.
We can't take nothing. Listen, I'm not taking nothing from no nigga that deserved what he deserved, but I'm not gonna give extra.
Right. Well, but here's the thing, right? And this is something that really can't be disputed. And I watched this from the outside looking in. G-Unit had real serious street beef with a lot of very serious
Well,
guys.
who?
Jimmy Henchman.
They got spanked. Nigga, are you crazy? They got spanked. What is wrong with you?
What do you mean they got spanked?
Yo, Vlad, please, trust me when I'm telling you this. I don't really want to go into all this, but they got spanked. What is wrong with you? Jimmy had his way. People died. What are you talking about?
Jimmy had his way?
What are you talking about?
I mean,
But calling it like one side completely ran over the other doesn't really give the full picture. This was a back and forth that played out over years, and it was never one-sided. The tension built slowly over time, and eventually turned into something much bigger than anyone expected. And let's not forget where things really started to shift. Jimmy got involved with the game, and that's when the dynamics started changing in a major way. That connection played a role in the game's separation from G-Unit, and that fallout only added more fuel to the fire. That one move shifted the entire energy around the situation. At the end of the day, a lot of what happened can be traced back to decisions made during that period. Those choices created a messy chain reaction that led to real consequences. Nothing about it was clean, nothing was simple, and it definitely wasn't one side just dominating the other. So when someone says there was no clear winner 1 minute and then turns around and claims one side completely handled the other, it just doesn't add up. You can't hold both narratives at the same time like that. The story has to stay consistent, or people are going to call it out instantly. You said Jimmy handled things, but then look at the reality of the situation. Jimmy Henchman is currently serving a life sentence, locked away and not free. So if we're being honest and technical, how do you define that as a win? He's not out here living his life, not moving freely, not in control of his situation. So how can that be called a victory in any real sense? Now don't get it twisted. Nobody is denying Jimmy's reputation in New York. He had a strong presence, and people knew exactly what time it was when his name came up. His influence carried weight for a long time, and that part is undeniable. But here's the contradiction that has people confused. You're saying he ran things, but also saying there was no clear winner. That doesn't line up. Either one side dominated, or it was a back and forth with losses on both sides. You can't push both narratives at once. And yes, 50 Cent and G-Unit took losses too. Lodi Mac, rest in peace, that situation was serious. But that's exactly how those environments operate. Nobody walks through untouched. There are always consequences. There's always something that hits both sides at some point.
Yayo's house got shot up over that situation. I understand that, but ultimately...
Think about what you're saying, and think about what happened.
Meaning what? That Jimmy's doing double life?
Listen, in that situation, that situation, they wasn't a victor in that situation, brother.
Right.
Okay, so it...
But I feel like these guys stood there.
Now listen, here's the part that really makes people raise their eyebrows. You're saying you don't buy into that whole extra gangster image around 50 Cent and G-Unit, right? So by that same logic, does that mean people can start questioning everything tied to you and your own circle too? Because once you open that door, it applies across the board. You can't dismiss one side completely and expect your side to stay untouched by the same questions. That's exactly where things start getting shaky and people begin looking at everything in a different light. Now hold up, this is where it gets even more interesting. Rod Diggs, who's he aligned with? Uncle Murda. And Uncle Murda is tied to who? 50 Cent and G-Unit. So how does all of that connect when you really step back and look at it? That's where things start to get really layered, because let's not forget, Rod Diggs had a serious reputation. People knew what time it was when his name came up. There were stories about tensions with Jim Jones, situations that almost went left, and moments that could have changed everything. That history is out there, and those who know, know. And here's the part that throws everything off. There was never any real issue between Maino and Rod Diggs on that level. No major problems, no real back and forth. That's what makes the whole situation even more confusing when you start connecting the dots and looking at who's tied to whom. And at the end of the day, Rod Diggs ended up serving a life sentence and is currently locked up in a federal supermax facility out in Colorado.
The ground?
Who stood what ground?
I think G-Unit stood their ground.
You don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Okay.
And it's easy to go for with the folklore. What else? Who else?
World?
You don't even know World. World is my childhood friend.
Okay.
Listen, this is things. He wasn't.
They didn't
really,
have beef with World?
Listen, that wasn't no.
The shooting that happened after the Hot 97?
Listen, this is when I don't even want to get into it.
Okay.
One incident happened, right? You think you really into it with somebody with one incident?
Suge Knight.
Yo, bro,
The
listen.
stabbing incident at the Vibe Awards.
Yo, listen, look, all I'm saying is I don't have no reason to believe the extra gangster shit. You believe whatever you want to believe. I ain't.
And his name still echoes loudly when people reflect on that era. His influence also ties into other well-known figures people recognize today. So when you really look at it, this entire web of connections runs much deeper than it appears on the surface. And once you break it all the way down, it's hard to just sit here and act like G-Unit was never moving on that kind of energy. Even Ice-T once pointed out that 50 Cent stood out in a different way for a reason. That kind of recognition doesn't come from nowhere. It came from how he moved and what he represented during that time. And that's exactly why this whole debate is blowing up right now. People are split down the middle. Some are standing with Maino's perspective. Others are pushing back, saying, nah, that doesn't match what we've seen over the years.
But we're talking about actual incidents. We saw the video at the Vibe Awards, right?
What happened at the Vibe Awards?
The guy that attacked them ended up getting stabbed.
Attacked who?
Attacked Dr. Dre.
What
Who was with them?
What they had that? Yo, bro.
They were there with Dr. Dre.
Yo, bro, leave me.
They were signed to Dr. Dre.
Yo, bro, listen to me. I'm not gonna debate you on another man. All I'm speaking from my perspective, and it is what it is. Like, I don't have no reason to believe nothing extra. Those incidents that you talking about, whatever. You know what I'm saying? People lost a lot. Like, look, it don't even matter to me, right? Look, like I said, you believe what you want to believe. I know truth. I think it's all a character act. Whatever, man.
It is what it is. If you and 50 got on the phone today,
Yeah.
you think you could have a civilized...
I don't see why not.
Yeah,
I don't,
civilized conversation.
I don't listen.
Which is something I hope for, by the way.
It don't even matter to me though. But the thing is this though. I don't care to do it because I don't want a nigga to confuse anything, because you already said things that I feel like now I need to stand on. Oh, you don't want to smoke. You want to be cool. I don't get a fuck.
Wait, who said that?
This is what he said. He said, I want to be cool. Yo, we from the same age bracket, my nigga. I've been outside a long time. A very long.
So now this turns into a bigger conversation about who really had that reputation and who didn't. But listen, I'm putting it back on you. How do you see it? Are you agreeing with Maino, or do you feel like he's stretching this narrative? Who do you think had the stronger reputation overall? And whose story actually holds up when you look at everything from start to finish? Tap in right now, subscribe, hit that like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to share this with someone who needs to see it. If you're really rocking with the content, go ahead and hit that hype button and help a small creator keep growing.
But we're talking about actual incidents. We saw the video at the Vibe Awards, right?
What happened at the Vibe Awards?
The guy that attacked them ended up getting stabbed.
Attacked who?
Attacked Dr. Dre.
Who
was with them?
What they had that? Yo, bro.
They were there with Dr. Dre.
Yo, bro, leave me.
They were signed to Dr. Dre.
Yo, bro, listen to me. I'm not gonna debate you on another man. All I'm speaking from my perspective, and it is what it is. Like, I don't have no reason to believe nothing extra. Those incidents that you talking about, whatever. You know what I'm saying? People lost a lot. Like, look, it don't even matter to me, right? Look, like I said, you believe what you want to believe. I know truth. I think it's all a character act. Whatever, man.
It is what it is. If you and 50 got on the phone today, you think you could have a civilized...
I don't see why not.
Yeah,
I don't,
civilized conversation.
I don't listen.
Which is something I hope for, by the way.
It don't even matter to me though. But the thing is this though. I don't care to do it because I don't want a nigga to confuse anything, because you already said things that I feel like now I need to stand on. Oh, you don't want to smoke. You want to be cool. I don't get a fuck.
Wait, who said that?
This is what he said. He said, I want to be cool. Yo, we from the same age bracket, my nigga. I've been outside a long time. A very long